Yo, what is going on, Arkansas Razorback fans, SEC fans everywhere? Welcome to the one and only Pig Trail Network YouTube live show, the Monday show. Trying to keep them consistent. Camera is really zoomed in. I was messing around with my settings today, and I need to get that fixed. I hope you guys are doing well. This will not be a long stream. Let me make sure some things are popping here. Okay, we're good. Hey, Ty, what's going on? Jacob Botwinick, who says second. Robert Ainsworth, how you doing? Mr. Cobra, how you guys doing? I know this is supposed to be Razorbacks questions, but what are your top 5 sitcoms of all time? What? I don't know. What's up, Dwight? How you doing, man? Hope you're doing well, Dwight. What is up, Ty? Long time no see. I've been here. It's been a little bit more consistent lately. We've had, I think we were live last week, both Monday and Friday. If not, we were at least live Friday. And then the week before that, I think we were live at least once or twice. So we're getting some consistency back. Where have you been, Dwight? Huh? Haven't seen you around in a while. I'm kidding. I know, we all have lives. So there's not a lot. There's not a ton of stuff out there in the Razorback world. So I figured we could do a Q&A. And Jacob, I'll answer your question here shortly. I don't know that I have top 5. I don't know that I even have like 3 sitcoms. So we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, there's just not a ton of news. I do want to touch on recruiting a little bit. And I figured, yeah, I'll answer your questions if you have any. If not, so also really cool announcement. Kyle Sutherland. I've been going, says Dwight. Kyle Sutherland from our very own Hog Talk podcast. You can find those episodes, those podcast episodes are down below in the description box. By the way, if you guys would like the video, share the content, so on and so forth, and check out all the links and to all the Patreon supporters. Shout out to you guys as well, or anybody who's thrown a dime in the old PayPal tip jar. I really do appreciate you guys. But Kyle Sutherland's going to be on the air tomorrow. Let me. I want to make sure I'm representing him correctly here. I don't want to. This is pretty neat. He's going to be on. We retweeted it on Hog Talk, and I thought I had it pulled up here, and apparently I don't. He's going to be on the radio tomorrow. We're pulling up his Twitter right now. Okay. And he also brought up a really good point today on Twitter about the recruiting of Felipe Franks. But let's see. Scrolling. Well, I thought I could find it, and I can't find it. Can't find where he talks about where he's going to be live tomorrow, and you can listen to him. You can listen to him talk. Oh, here we go. I found it. Okay. This is from Kyle's Facebook page. I will be guest co-hosting the halftime pod for ESPN Arkansas tomorrow from 12 to 2. If you would like to tune in, you can do so live on Hit That Line from ESPN Arkansas Facebook. And they're on Twitter too, right? They do their thing on Twitter. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, and you can listen to them live on the following radio stations: 96.3 in Hot Springs, Central Arkansas, 95.3 on Fort Smith, River Valley, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and, of course, 99.5 for those of us here in Northwest Arkansas. If you aren't able to catch it live, you can access it later on any forum you listen to your podcast. So I thought that was really cool. Kyle got an awesome opportunity. And good for him, man. I can't wait. I think he's going to do 2 days. I think he's going to be there on Tuesday and Wednesday. So be sure to check that out. Word, T. I want the scoop on the basketball team. I don't know. They're going to be good. I don't know what scoop you're looking for. What do you mean by scoop, Jeffrey? Fill me in, Jeffrey Howard. Fill me in. Cobra 45 says Lucas Coley and Jermaine Hamilton Both said we have 3 weapons coming soon on Twitter. Who do you think they will be? I've thought all along that it's any moment that Aaron Outley is going to commit, and I wonder if he's one of them. But I'm not entirely sure who the other 2 could be. I really don't know. I've been out of the loop on recruiting for the last week, but I can tell I can give you so I could throw some random names out there, but I'm not entirely sure. Does anyone know when the basketball schedule will be released? Yeah, I saw you ask that last time, Celtics, and unfortunately, we don't have any word on that right now. There's no word on anything thanks to COVID. We'll have to wait and see. I think, if I remember right, last year they pushed it out, August or September? It's usually around that time, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So when you look at, since we're talking about football commits, Arkansas is, with 12 commitments, they're pushed back to 32nd in the country. They've gone back 1 spot to 9th in the SEC. And, who was the most recent commit? Was it Devon Manuel? Was that the most recent commit? Yeah, June 16th. I think that was the most recent. Let me scroll around here. And then before that, you had A.J. Green out of Tulsa. That was a good pickup. Yeah, I don't know who those other 2 options are right now. Not entirely sure just yet. I'm curious to see. I know that Arkansas had offered a JUCO linebacker. I don't have all of his information. All I know is it was a JUCO linebacker, and I don't have all that information right now. But they have sent out an offer. I do know they're going to take 2 linebacker commits, and it looks like the other position is going to be a JUCO guy. So I found that pretty interesting. Let me go down here really quick to pull up my. I have a notepad here of all the players to keep an eye on, and someone had asked me about Cameron Valdez in my Facebook DM last week. I want to be clear on him. I'm not saying he's committing to Arkansas, 4-star running back out of Rockdale, Texas. I'm saying keep an eye on him, and just want to make that clear. They've already got their 2 supposed running backs, assuming they don't take any more commits at that position. And we've been told they're going to take 2 running backs, but there's also the possibility that one of those other running backs may very well not play running back. I'm not 100% sure. And I know someone had brought up Logan Diggs. I don't think if they pass on Valdez, they're going to pass on Diggs, and they wouldn't pass on Valdez. That guy's he's too good a talent. The only other receivers here, let's pull up Hog Sports here, hogsports.com. Of course, Trey Biddy, Danny West on that site. Let's see who they're warm on. Ketron Jackson, and we've talked about him on the Hog Talk and here. Ketron Jackson, Arkansas has been on his short list for a while, or at least in terms of the teams that he's been warm on. Out of Royce City, Texas, 6'2", 6'2.5", about 190 pounds. He's been rumored to even be a silent commit to Arkansas, and people believe that he will end up signing with Arkansas. Where's his crystal ball? Can I look at his crystal ball? Let's pull that up. Ketron Jackson. He's all over the place. 5 predictions for Ketron. Again, 6'2.5", 6'2", 190 pounds. It's pretty cool how much you can do without on 247. The amount of free content there is really cool. Right now, it's split down the middle, 46% and 46%, 46.2 and 46.2 to Arkansas and TCU. Gabe Brooks, who's the Midlands region recruiting analyst, said back on May, so not that long ago, just last month, he has him favored towards TCU. Now, they do this new thing with the confidence level, and right now he's got him at a 3. Trey Biddy and Danny West, both back in, on 4/27/20, both have his confidence level at a 6 and an 8. And then Jeremy Clark, who's the hornedfrogblitz.com, the TCU insider for 247, back on a month after Trey Biddy and Danny West posted their predictions, he has him to TCU. And again, that's Ketron Jackson. This is that other big-time four-star you're talking about in this class. Things could change throughout the year. We know they will. You'll make someone else's short list. Someone else will get some more stars next to their name, and we'll be talking about them. But Ketron Jackson, as it stands, from what I understand, is your next possible, highly possible four-star player to commit to Arkansas. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of them. You talk about what Coley said on Twitter. And there was another receiver I wanted to pull up. See if I can find him. Yeah, Simeon Price, although I think some has changed on him. I thought there was some information on him not long ago that had kind of changed. But he's got some really good offers for a 3-star. He's about 6 foot, 200 pounds, out of West Florida Tech. Down in he's from the Pensacola area down in Florida. He's rated as a top 80, top 85 receiver in the country. He's a top 75 player in the state of Florida. Offers from Georgia Tech, Michigan State, Mississippi State, Nebraska. But there's no predictions on him, and I thought something had changed on him, but he is being recruited by Steve Spurrier Jr. at Mississippi State, Nathan Burton at Georgia Tech, and, of course, John Cooper and Barry Odom. Makes me wonder if he's being recruited by Barry Odom if he's not playing offense. And John Cooper. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. Scrolling down. There he is. John Paul Richardson. That's who I was looking for. There had also been some rumors about John Paul. Now, this guy, 6 foot, 5'11", 6 foot, about 180 pounds. Some really good offers. Does have legit committable offers from some Power 5 schools. He has offers from Arkansas, Oklahoma State, TCU, Arizona, Georgia Tech, along with like 15. He's got like 20-something offers. There's not a lot of information on him in terms of like his numbers, but I wondered, his name's kind of been roaming around. He has 0 crystal ball predictions on 247, unless they just locked me out. But again, he's a Missouri City, Ridge Point High kid. I wonder if maybe he's one of them. But John Paul's had some connections. I think he's friends with a couple of guys that are actually already committed to Arkansas. So maybe, I don't know, it's worth keeping an eye on. Let's see. I'm thinking Ketron Jackson and Norwood. Yeah, your next 2 commits, I agree. Ty is going to be on ESPN someday, and we're going to be his fans that were there from the beginning. The next Stephen A. I'm calling it. Oh, man, your words. You're too kind. You're too kind. Ty, do you believe Arkansas is SEC title contenders if Joe comes back in basketball? From the Puppeteer. Again, thank you, Jacob, for those kind words. That was really nice. Anything can happen. If Joe comes back, absolutely anything can happen. I'm not going to rule anything out. If Joe comes back, that roster, it's already loaded. We know this roster is just ridiculously loaded with the talent. You've got the star power. You've got the raw talent on this roster. You bring Isaiah Joe back. God only knows what they're capable of doing. I think you have to put them in that argument, right? Like, you have to put them in that argument. Hell, even without Isaiah Joe, you got to have that when you're sitting down at the round table with your friends who aren't Razorback fans, but they're SEC basketball fans, and you're talking about legitimacy, even without Isaiah Joe. Even without Isaiah Joe, I'm absolutely thinking you put them at the table. You put them on that short list, on the chopping block, as teams that should be. As a team that should be considered, even without Isaiah Joe. There's too much talent. And I say too much. You can never have too much. Don't get me wrong. We've had guys that had all the star power next to their names and really kind of struggled. Ethan Henderson is someone recently we looked at and we go, kind of expected a little more out of Ethan. But he's growing. And I hope, golly, I hope no one leaves. I don't want anybody to leave. What do you think about the 2 Sooners that are transferring to Arkansas? Levi, Draper, and Crawford. Some of you, a couple of you didn't really like what I had to say about Levi Draper, and I wasn't trying to downplay Draper's, like, his importance and his capabilities here. I know that R.J. Young Oklahoma. Well, he doesn't really even cover Oklahoma as much anymore. He used to be exclusive to Oklahoma, but he's expanded his content. And that guy posts videos every day, and he's gotten awfully political lately. But I know people that I personally know that used to watch him. They don't watch him anymore because he doesn't talk sports as much. But it's his channel. I still think he's a great content creator. But he thinks very highly of both these guys. If you want to watch a breakdown, you can see what he had to say about Levi, Draper, and Crawford. My question is, someone like Draper who struggled to even be a rotating guy on an Oklahoma defense. Don't get me wrong. I know they're just riddled with talent everywhere, but Oklahoma's not exactly a defensive powerhouse either. I mean, let's be real. What do they really have to offer on defense? And he struggled to make the field at Oklahoma. Now, from what I understand, he got a little banged up. Some guys kind of took his place, similar to the Felipe Franks situation down at Florida at the quarterback position. He got banged up, lost some, obviously had some stuff he had to deal with off the field with the surgeries and whatnot. He lost his job. I've heard that that's kind of the Levi Draper story, where it happened to him when he was younger. When he gets on campus, he gets a little banged up, and he loses his, he's more or less kind of out of the loop. And the closest he got to really seeing the field was special teams. That's kind of my concern. Now, Crawford, it's a little bit different. Oklahoma, I don't know. When you look at true NFL prospects, who's the most loaded across college football, the college football landscape, at that position, who has the most NFL talent, Oklahoma's in that conversation. You absolutely understand a guy going there and being like, damn, I'm not going to compete with these guys. I'm not going to compete. Or I want to see the field sooner. And from the one individual I was able to reach out to and get some information on, who's just a fan, he's not a media guy, but he said it looked like it'd probably take him for a little while to reach the field because there's just too much talent. Oklahoma's got some big-time incoming freshmen, some guys that redshirted a year ago. There may have even been some playbook issues. Again, this is a guy who reads all the Oklahoma boards, right? He's not a media guy, so he probably believes everything that he reads on boards. Although he's pretty reliable. He's been reliable before. He was reliable on Levi Draper. In fact, he told me he was the first guy to come to me and tell me Draper was going to be a Razorback before I even heard. Literally, later that day, found out Levi Draper's transferring to Arkansas. So, I mean, I hold what he tells me with a level of legitimacy. So maybe he's right. Maybe there's just too much talent at the position at Oklahoma. And, so you understand that. And it's not to take anything away from Levi Draper. I do think when you look at him, both these guys were highly recruited out of high school. Both of them have a lot of potential. And I think there's, look, Draper's going to be on the field this year. Make no mistake about that. One way or another, either special teams or as someone who could even potentially start or be a guy that rotates, whatever. I think he's going to have a certain level of impact on the Razorbacks. Again, whether that's special teams or defense, we're not sure. Man, I wish we had spring because he would have been there. If I remember right, he enrolled early. If I remember right, he was on campus. He's ready to go. We could have seen what their plans are with Levi had they had spring camp. Unfortunately, we just have no idea. I tell you. Damn you, COVID-19! Have you guys seen the video of the preacher blowing COVID-19 out of his church? COVID-19. That's great. That's great. That's great content. So I'm big on. I like them both. Crawford. It sucks. He's going to have to sit. I'm sure he will contest the NCAA, and we all know he's not going to get. I mean, come on. Let's be real. He's not going to get cleared at Arkansas. If this were Alabama, LSU, maybe it'd be a different story. Makes you wonder if those schools just know how to utilize their resources better when it comes to transfers and immediate eligibility. Maybe they just utilize their resources better, getting these guys instantly, qualified and eligible to play. Of course, but yeah. So I'm excited for both of them. I'll just say that. Let's see. I don't have my glasses. I apologize. Arkansas versus Mississippi State football game is going to be a baseball score or basketball score. Okay, I was like, really? You think it's going to be a low scoring game? It could be. You're not wrong. You may not be wrong. You may not be wrong. Thanks for your question, Dwight, and Daytona. Thanks for your comment, Mr. Douglas, Mark Douglas. Karen, get my glasses. See if she does it. Well, it's okay. Without the camps being full go, coaches are going to have to do serious homework and review and evaluate players this recruiting cycle. Mark, you're not lying, man. That is the absolute truth. It makes you wonder: is the timing right for someone like Sam Pittman when you look at the state of the program, right? And it's the same thing we said about Chad when he first got on, when he had that first recruiting, or that first, like when he's stealing recruits and he's walking into Texas, and we thought, wait a minute, we're low on talent, and Chad is stockpiling talent. You know, that 2019 class is still ridiculous, and what he was able to do with early signing period. You remember his first year on campus was the first year they had ESP, early signing period, which is garbage, by the way. I'm fully against it. I hate it. Do away with it. But you saw what he was able to do in a short amount of time. Then we saw what he did the following year. And you kind of said the same thing. Is this the right guy at the right time? Of course, obviously that didn't work out. There was a dumpster fire. But you're starting to get a little bit of talent. You're starting to finally stockpile. I'm not going to say stockpile, but you're starting to fill up your roster with some legitimate talent, some possible playmakers, maybe a difference maker if you're lucky on roster. And it makes you wonder, is this the perfect time for Sam Pittman to be the head Hawk? On the field, on campus, had things been, business as usual, and they were not, obviously, and COVID-19 strikes, and like Mark said, I mean, coaches are going to have to do serious homework and review to evaluate the talent in this recruiting cycle. But it also makes you wonder, how do you evaluate what you have when you're new to Arkansas? When you're breaking down film and you're doing everything you can to figure out who your playmakers are on both sides of the ball, because you're not getting that time with them. And then this I'm not liking the way they're handling why not just let the coaches be on campus with the players? Why extend all this crap? The dead period with recruiting, dead period is extended all the way through September now. August 31st is when the dead period lifts. So you've got what you got to deal with on campus, and you got to deal with the other side of it, which is recruiting. I tell you, maybe, he's a first-time coach. Some would probably argue this is an absolute perfect storm nightmare situation for someone like Sam Pittman. He's been around it for a while. I'm ready to see these guys put the pads on. And someone brought up a good point too on Twitter. Someone brought up the point that what happens when a team gets impacted by COVID-19, because it's probably going to happen. What happens if someone gets hit and they spread it to the team? Do you have to cancel that week of football? Like, all of a sudden now, half your roster has it. There's so many questions. There's so many, and I don't know the answers. Your mind just starts to go all these different places, like all these different possible outcomes, and it's kind of scary a little bit. Like, damn, they may just have to cancel the season, because who wants to risk that? So I was watching, speaking of that, really quick, I'm going to show you guys this clip. This was Boomer Esiason. Boomer, I can never pronounce his name right. He's on Boomer and Geo. Official show page for Boomer and Geo on WFAN 101.9 FM, CBS Sports Network. Let me pull this up here. I'm going to see if you guys can. I'm going to turn my mic down a little bit.
Here's one other thing, and I got to be really careful. Careful.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna lower my mic down
here because I don't want to say that this is an accusation. I don't want to. I just was thinking the other day about what is going on with the SEC teams down south, and Clemson included, who's obviously an ACC team. A lot of their players are coming down with COVID-19, oddly enough. So are they trying to herd immunity their teams so these guys can get sick now as opposed to getting sick during the college football season, if in fact there is one? And I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't put it past any of those guys down there.
Sure. I mean, that's one of the first things I said about Belichick. I said I watched Belichick get his whole team sick, so when the season rolls around, everybody's been through it already. Like, he would be the guy that would do that. So, and I was saying that facetiously, but I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
I think it's going on. I honestly, the numbers coming out of, like, Alabama, LSU, and Clemson, all these teams,
yeah,
it's too much of a coincidence.
Hey, Marcus, go cough on this guy. And then you cough on him, and then you cough on the whole secondary.
I mean, would
y'all be fine in 3 weeks. Just shut up, take your temperature, go to your doctor. Y'all young, you'll be fine. I mean, Ed Orgeron directing people to get sick is something that I don't think is that crazy.
Right. I don't think it's that crazy either. I mean, that's, now you have 16 NBA players that have tested positive, and all these guys are most like, they're all going to get through it. They're all going to come through it fine.
Wow. Let me fix OBS here. So, yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. Because here's a couple things Boomer's there's no proof, there's no evidence that COVID-19 that you get it once and you don't get it again. I'm not a doctor, I've said this here 1,000 times. I've said this 1,000 times. I'm not a doctor, don't have a PhD. Hell, I know one doctor, good friend of mine I used to work with. He's a doctor up in Pennsylvania somewhere. But the last bit of literature that I read on this is that there's no evidence that once you get it, you're immune. So that's crazy, first off. Second off, there's no way you could keep that under wraps. There's no way you keep that under wraps. Then again, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that we don't know about, and I agree with that. Sounds crazy. The risk involved in doing that. What happens? First off, if a player gets it and they're not wrong saying that you're going to get through it. And by the way, that guy's Ed Orgeron was pretty damn spot on, really. Although he made too much sense. I could understand him entirely too well. Needs to work on that. But if a player had a pre-existing condition they didn't know about, think of the risk involved with that. And they know that. They've got people on their staff. They've got a medical team that's like, hey, we need to be on the lookout. It's not like they get on campus and they do all this blood work and they know about all their pre-existing conditions. That's why you hear about guys falling over and having heart attacks in football practices. But, I guess that's more high school level, really. You hear about those kids. But they don't do all this blood work on these players when they come in. They have no idea what other pre-existing conditions other than just the face value stuff. Like, have you ever had a heart attack when playing in high school? Like, that's probably about the extent of it. They don't poke these guys full of needles and check their temperatures every day. Like, that's not, now they probably do, but then before COVID, that wasn't the case. You don't know. So think of the risk involved with that. You kill a player by herd immunity, and I'm not going to get into the politics of that, whether or not herd immunity actually works or not. I'm not going to get into that, but let's just say really it's kind of a moot point anyways, because if they have a pre-existing condition, you've now exposed them to COVID-19, they die, then what? Oh my God. Everybody at LSU, Arkansas, Alabama, Clemson, all these schools in the South, like they were talking about, they want to make it a point to talk about these schools in the South, which was weird, by the way. But they're all fired. The athletic director gone. Head coach, career ruined. Nobody is risking that because pre-existing conditions matter. It's very slim. When you're younger, when you're in shape like these kids are, like these athletes, these Division I athletes, you're the odds of dying from it are incredibly slim. But that's just, I saw that someone you guys were talking about it in chat, and I thought this is a good time to share that. I thought that was I thought it was insane. Mark Douglas had brought that up. All right, I think Celtics for Life says, I think the basketball team will finish top 3 in the SEC. With Joe, we will be first. That's a bold prediction. Who is our biggest rivalry in football? A&M or Ole Miss? Let's see. 4. It's Ole Miss. I can't stand it. If you ask the common fan, they'd probably say LSU. Me personally, I think it's A&M. The history. There's more history there between Arkansas and A&M. Although they've had Arkansas's number now for a while, I'd like to see that end this year. Maybe it does, maybe not. When you see our quarterback situation with the recruits coming in, who do you believe has the most potential of all of them? Hornsby, KJ, Coley, etc. Well, listen. KJ was Chad's guy, and I think he would fit Chad's system, assuming he would ever get beyond 30% of his offense installed. That's a good question. Right now, there's too many unknowns. I don't know that KJ's got I've thought a lot of him last year, and I still do. I think he's got a lot of raw potential. But he needs to go where he's going to where he's going to be utilized. I don't know if he's going to be utilized here or not. We just don't know enough about what this staff, what they want to do exactly at quarterback beyond Felipe Franks. We just don't know. We don't have that information entirely yet. We know they've kind of yepped a little bit. They've flapped their jaws here and there, but we haven't actually seen these guys participate in practice yet. We haven't seen them do anything on field. It's really hard to know what these coaches want, but just to answer your question, just on pure potential, Hornsby, in my opinion, is probably up there with KJ where he's at now. Just in terms of talent, I think there's less work needed compared to KJ when he was coming out of high school. KJ was really raw. He strikes me as a Dan Mullins type of quarterback, if I'm being honest. And I think he could. I honestly think KJ would stand a chance down in Florida. I really believe that. Or at Auburn with Gus Malzahn and Chad Morris as the offense coordinator. That's a good question. Good question. But I would argue right now it'd be between. It would have to be between Malik Hornsby and KJ right now. Let's see, Jacob Botwinick. I don't know why, but I was watching Arkansas versus Portland State. That was on SEC Network today, and it was trying to make me cry. Chase Harrell couldn't catch a cold that game. That guy couldn't catch anything. You could put super glue on his gloves. Let's see. Do you see game day coming to the Hill for a game this year? No. Oh, basketball. It's possible. Thoughts on Cam to the Patriots? Oh my gosh, was that not crazy? What I thought was interesting about that was immediately RJ Young pointed out that black quarterback at New England and how those fans would react. I hate it when we paint an entire fan base like they're all a bunch of racist, And I know they don't have. I saw the Torrey Hunter thing that he'd posted on Twitter, and there's a little story behind that. The names that were called that people were calling him, when he in Boston. That's one player's perspective, and maybe there's more. It's kind of anecdotal for you to look at. Well, here's this one black player's experience. That doesn't mean everyone experiences that. They're going to embrace Cam Newton. If he fails, that might be another story. I don't know. I think they're going to embrace him, and I know they're excited about it. I don't really know any Patriots fans, but I would be pretty excited. I think Cam, NFL's going to be, golly, it's going to be an interesting year, right? If only COVID didn't exist, this would be such an awesome year. I just have this feeling in the back of my, at the bottom of my gut that says that we're not going to have a football season. But, I'm kind of 50-50. But you got Tom Brady and Gronk down in Tampa. You're going to have Cam in New England. I really want to see how KC in Baltimore, who I think have the two best quarterbacks in the NFL with Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. This is going to be an exciting year for pro football, and it may all just be thrown to the wayside because of this stupid-ass COVID-19. Look, I'm not saying – I said when Tom Brady left, good luck. You're going to have – those are some big shoes to fill. I don't know that they do much, right? I just don't. I don't know that Cam Newton – we know he's not Tom Brady. And he kind of died out with the Panthers. His numbers, he wasn't putting up the game buster type numbers that he was supposed to be putting up, especially this last year with who they had at running back, right? You kind of thought this would all come together for Carolina. It didn't. Please do an Ed Orgeron impression. Ed Orgeron, go Tigers. Let's see. Arkansas is better than you may think. Says if we do have football this year, then do you think it will be really crazy and confusing like the 2007 season, for example? What do you mean, though? I mean, I think it's going to be crazy. And I don't know that the 2007 season was crazy and confusing other than some of the off-the-field drama that was going on. But COVID is the X factor here. That's what's going to make this all just, do you feel comfortable having Dave Horn at Arkansas for the rest of his career? Yeah, all day. Don't sleep on my boy Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott. We'll see. I have never been so excited for football and basketball, and COVID ruined it. I'm telling you, it's just insanity. Dumb COVID. I agree. What's up, Big Fry? How you doing? Big Fry, shout out to him. If you guys are into, well, actually, Fry, you're playing. What are you playing now? You're playing. Oh my God, space game. I can't remember the name of it. It's driving me crazy. Hope you're doing well, Fry. Who do you see as starting 5 for Nevada? Well, so I'm glad you said that because I have some notes actually about that. Let me pull up my notes and get the magazine out here. So, because there was something I wanted to point out. The secret. Okay. So, up front, this is who right now, which magazine is this? Lynn Athlon has at left tackle, they have Myron Cunningham, Shane Clennon, Ty Clary, Ricky Stromberg, and Dalton Wagner. And I have to say, I think that's probably about as accurate as it gets. I think Myron, there's a lot of questions at left tackle. You're replacing some experience over there. You're replacing some big names, but we can't forget about the Notre Dame transfer, Luke Jones. You're going to have, let's see, you're probably still going to have Ryan Winkle in the mix somewhere in the interior. I think this magazine is honestly right. In the last couple of years, I didn't really agree with who they projected at starting, but that's Athlon. I think that's pretty right. Myron Cunningham is someone who's already was making strides last year. He struggled to start, but his natural position is tackle. And before I even popped this magazine out, I had my list, and I had Myron Cunningham starting at one of the tackle spots. That's really who I think that's probably pretty damn accurate. Dalton Wagner, as we know, is a guy that could start as well at right tackle, and you could maybe move him to left, but he's more prominent at the right tackle spot. I think that's pretty accurate. Now I wanted to pull up Lindy's. I think has a different. I really haven't cracked open this Lindy's much at all. I'm guilty. I'm sorry. I'm guilty. I haven't cracked it open much. I've been reading the Athlon was really good this year. Who did they have as their starting five? I know you guys read these magazines too. Where are you at, Arkansas? Okay. They have, again, this is Lindy's. They have, tell me what you think of this. Left tackle, Myron Cunningham, Shane Clinton, Ricky. Okay, that's the same list. I thought they had rotated out Myron with another tackle. Maybe not. It's the exact same list. Like I said, I haven't cracked this open enough. But I think that's pretty accurate. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. This is going to be the most stable you've been up front. I am so excited for Ricky Stromberg. Like I think he's already put on at least 15 pounds. Last we heard, Ricky Stromberg is your next legitimate, I believe, NFL offensive lineman on this roster, and I think I really hope that he had the kind of offseason that like a Frank Ragnow had. You remember what was it between his was it his sophomore and then junior season he had an explosion, and then obviously his senior or his last year he had a good year at Arkansas. His final year at Arkansas he had a really really good year. I think Stromberg's going to be the strength of this offensive line. I could have sworn I looked at that Lindy's and they had a different starting left tackle. But yeah, here's your total list. Let's go over this really quick, and this doesn't include everybody, but let's go over the entire list, or does it? Let's see. Ty Clary, Shane Clinton, Myron Cunningham again, who was a JUCO a year ago, Noah Gatlin, don't forget about Noah, Luke Jones, 6'5", 293, Brady Latham, Bo Limmer, Nix Austin. Let's see. Shibweze Nwana was the other JUCO offensive lineman. Dylan Rathke, Ricky Stromberg, Drew Vest, Dalton Wagner, Ryan Winkle. And I think those last two guys I just mentioned are probably going to get some playing time too. There's not enough, again, no spring camp, and this whole offseason's been so unorthodox, it's really hard to say who they're going to go with. But I think I have to agree with who they have. And I think in my notes I have the exact same list. It probably will change by the time we get to the end of fall camp. We know how this works. Assuming we have a regular season, assuming we have an uninterrupted offseason from here on out, I think that's pretty accurate what the magazines are saying. It was really good this year. Athlon especially was really good. Get you some of that Sprite. Elite Dangerous, that's what it is. Thanks, Fry. I think we're going to have football with no fans. Thanks for the props for Mahomes. The dude's going to be better. He's only going to get better. The sky's the limit. Chiefs Kingdom. Let's see. When you think about early signing period and National Signing Day, who do you think is the most surprising recruit Arkansas got? For me, it was Miles Slusher. Slusher, absolutely. Slusher in this last class was very similar to Jalen Catalon. Remember Catalon? It was down between Arkansas and Texas, and I didn't think they were going to get him. And that kind of takes you back to when they picked up Denver Kirkland. You remember him out of Florida, offensive lineman years ago. It was between, as far as I knew, before we were able to get the staff in and get everything kind of settled. Kirkland was choosing between, I think it was Florida State and Miami. We come in and we swoop in and we pick up, Denver Kirkland, who was big time. big time prospect out of Florida. And then you go back to last year with Slusher, and then you go back to Jalen Catalon, like these guys you really didn't think you had a legit shot at, 4 stars who you ended up switching. I have to agree. I like Slusher. I think Slusher is my most surprising recruit. Knox, you kind of worried there before signing period. If I remember, I'm trying to remember his recruiting background and how everything unfolded. But if I remember right, there were some rumors that he may decommit. I hope I'm not getting him and Shamar Nash mixed up. But Knox was another one that when he committed to Arkansas, I was a little bit surprised. Oh, don't ask me NBA questions. What do you think about Memphis Grizzlies right now? I don't know. Are you going to watch the Eddie Sutton documentary? That is tonight. No, probably not. Starting offensive line won't matter much if we still have a center who had those lollipop weak snaps to the quarterback. You're not wrong, Mark. You're not wrong. $1 Comic Bin says, since haven't been able to enjoy college ball right now and a lot of live sports my family has loved watching. I don't know what any of that is. Jayless Marbles runs. I don't know. Who's your best field goal kicker next year? Yeah, losing Connor Nolan was a bummer. Or Connor Nolan, sorry, Limpert. Losing Limpert was a pretty big loss. Your specialists that you're going to have coming back this year, or who you're going to have on roster, you're going to have A.J. Reed, Rhett Thurman as your place kickers, Chad Stevens, your punter. Yeah. But I think it probably ends up, if I had to guess, it would be A.J. Reed would be my guess. I think that's probably where they're going to steer towards. I think he's the one that had the really strong leg and was someone who had a couple decent offers, but of course in college they don't really get scholarship offers. You know, they're almost always asked to walk on unless they're really big time. We have a lot of really talented receivers, but I believe Treylon Burks will be our best receiver next year. He was very impressive to me, and it was a shame he never got a touchdown. I couldn't agree more. I truly believe, and I said this in a podcast a little while back on my last Big Trail pod, where I said Burks was a FON, a freak of nature. So I couldn't agree more. There's so many uncertainties this year, guys. There's so much stuff that we don't know how this is going to pan out. We truly don't know if this season, if we have it, if it's going to be uninterrupted. It sucks. It really sucks. But hopefully it all goes back to normal, right? Hopefully this thing passes. I don't know. Just pray that it does, I guess. But for right now, this is our new norm. Trying to understand and adapt with COVID-19 and try to learn to live with it. So I hope you guys are being safe out there. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. Remember to like, share the content, all that stuff. I'd really appreciate it. And I think that's gonna do it. Here in about an hour, we're gonna be live on the Hog Talk podcast Facebook page. So if you guys want to see, I think we're trying to get Jacob. We're not sure if Jacob's gonna make it yet or not, but it's gonna be myself, Kyle Sutherland, Porter Hayes, and again we're gonna try and bring on the co-founder of the Hog Talk between myself and him, Jacob Scott Davis, who's with Arkansas Fight now. We're gonna try and bring him on. And looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, that's on the Hog Talk podcast Facebook page if you guys want to go check that out. We'll be live in about an hour. So hopefully we'll see you guys there. Until then, woo pig suey. Go Hogs. I'll see you guys on the next one.